Hey, what's going on, Mr. ERIC Luther Ingram? How are you today, my brother?
Yes, sir. What's good with you? How you doing?
We good. Hold on, let me set you up real fast. For all my listeners out there, man, here at Media Made Magazine, we got the opportunity today, man, to sit down with an incredibly gifted film author, producer, writer, music person. I mean, he's a staple in the industry. Yo, for all my listeners out there, man, it's ERIC Luther Ingram in the building. What's going on, my brother?
What's good, man? How you feeling? How you feeling, Sonny?
I'm good. Thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
So let's start it off real fast, man. Let everybody know who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing what you do for your first question, because we're gonna get to a whole lot of what you do.
Yeah, the grind has been it's been quite a while. ERIC Luther Ingram, son of Luther Ingram. Born in St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, STL.
Raised in East St. Louis, Illinois. Went to school in Ohio, Central State University, HBCU.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, there's a couple of people who was there when I was there. I don't know if you all know a guy named Blue Williams. He used to be the manager of Outkast. He was part of the Flavor Unit crew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was part of the Flavor Unit crew. He was there when I was there. A number of people, I can't think of her name, but everybody used to hate the girl. She was a Trump. She was with Trump. Bunch of reality shows. I can't remember, but we've had some famous people at Central State. But right now, with what I'm doing, I just thought that this story needed to be told. You know, my father passed away in 2007. Mom passed away in 2008. And so I'm the only one left to tell the story.
Wow. That's a beautiful thing.
It had been bothering me for a while, a long while. And I think I would happen to say probably 14 months before my father passed, he was on his hospital bed and he just started talking. And back then I used to carry this 8mm camera around with the little pocket tape recorders and stuff. I would have that, and I just happened to have it. He started talking. He started telling me some incredible stories that happened at Stax Records, and I just started recording. And so the story that I have comes straight from the horse's mouth.
Wow.
You know, you see a lot of stories that says based on this, or some of it is real. I mean, everything he told me is what I put in this script.
Wow.
So it's a great story, man. We hope to get it out this year, 225. You know,
we go absolutely. We're gonna get to all that. We go break it down. We gonna talk about all of the different things that you're doing. But being a child in the Ingram family that you were in, how did you kind of derive in wanting to be or follow the steps of what your family is? I mean, like, you know, you just didn't wake up one day and want to be a writer. You know what I mean? I mean, you had to be inspired by something or somebody, man. So we need you to tell us, man, you know, one of your greatest inspirations, or who was your greatest inspiration to make you do some of the things that you're doing today?
Well, as a kid, man, I mean, and I'm going way back here.
Go way back, baby.
I'm going back to grade school.
Okay.
I was one of the only kids that actually had his birthday on TV.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
There was a show back then called Mr. Patches. And it came on at 3:00. And we didn't get out of school until 3:15. So my pops sent this limousine to pick us up at school, and about 8 or 9 of my friends, and took us down to Channel 30. And just that type of scene, you know, I was like, man, I guess I'm somebody, you know. I guess he's somebody because, you know, even though back then, you know, he had a show. I remember he had a show with the Jackson 5 one time at the Kiel Auditorium. And I was a little kid backstage. And, you know, I'm looking at the Jackson 5 at that age. And little did I know that this guy over here would be the biggest star in the history of music, you know, Michael Jackson. But then back then, you know, growing up in that, you know, sitting in the corner with my legs crossed,
man,
with Isaac Hayes and Johnny Taylor and
God,
you know, staple symbols, you know.
Yeah, my dad was best. My dad,
that music resonated into my bloodstream.
Okay.
The creativity resonated into my bloodstream. And like today, with the artists that I work with, the writers that I work with, it all comes from that. And it's as fresh today as it was when I was, you know, 10 years old, 15 years old. Every time I talk about music, I reflect back to my father saying something like, you know, you got to lock it in the pocket. You know, you got to, you know, it's got to be on the one or whatever. You know, I'll bring that to a studio session.
Right.
And I'm just basically talking through him.
Right. And it's beautiful.
When I go to Stax in Memphis, they treat me like I'm him.
Okay. Okay.
Which is wonderful. But what I'm here doing is still a lot that my father should have received while he was here. And I'm just trying to get that. You know, I'm trying to get that respect. All these biopics is coming out, you know. Bob Dylan got a biopic coming out on Christmas. Somebody telling his story.
Somebody telling his story.
You know, Becoming Led Zeppelin is coming out in February. Somebody telling their story. Elton John told his story. The Temptations told their story. You know, Ike and Tina Turner, you know, so it's time for his story.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
in his child's perspective, because that's why you're here. And I want to ask you, are you the only child, or do you have do you have siblings?
I got a brother that's 9 years older than me.
Okay.
But he's not really into this. He's been like, he was in a service. He just went a whole nother route than I.
He just took a different path.
Yeah, different path. I mean, we still cool. We still tight.
Right.
But as far as the entertainment and the music and the film, you know, he's not into that.
I know that it's amazing, and one of the things that I love to hear, especially from the old timers, you know what I'm saying? Only because I just love it. It was the way that things were really done back then. And one of the things that you just touched on is some of the sayings that your dad used to say to you, you know what I mean? And then you take that with you. And I know a lot of times you hear him talking in your head about the little different sayings that he say that
all the time
when you was a child, you didn't realize what it actually meant. But now that you're older, you can kind of apply that to your thinking of some of the things that he was saying to you back then. You know what I mean?
All the time. And even some of the things that I don't remember, I have two of my uncles, two of his brothers, and his sister, my Aunt Daisy, who are still here, who constantly remind me of things that he would say or he would do.
Right.
In fact, my Uncle Tommy, his youngest brother, we just had a session with him last week.
Wow.
He's getting ready to do a project, so we're going to work with that project. And basically, you know, I am in possession of a lot of that catalog that my pops had, like 37 songs. And I'm redoing some things. I'm re-recording some things. there's one track that Nas even got on. There's a track that Ghostface Killer got on. There's a track that Busta Rhymes got on. It's a lot of material that people don't recognize that he has, that people of today's magnitude have gotten on.
Right.
So I'm bringing all of that out.
And it's a beautiful thing that, like, so younger cats today listen to different music and then they put their twist to it or whatever. Yeah. But they don't know that it all originated from some of our golden artists, you know what I'm saying, from back in the day. So they'll listen to something right now. They'll be like, oh no, Biggie did that, or Nas did that. We like, no.
That's already been out.
That comes from this, you know what I mean? And of course it was took and it was sampled, you know what I'm saying? And so that's the beautiful thing about creativity in the music and the things that was set in stone from guys like your dad that live and breathe today because you bring it back to life. You know what I mean? And the artists now bring things back to life that they don't even know that came from this, that, or that. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say, yeah, man, that's a beautiful thing.
I've got two nephews. I got two nephews who keep me in the loop.
Okay.
Of today's artist. And there's this one artist, they call him Moneybag Yo.
Yep.
Yep.
Supposed to be one of the biggest artists out there.
Yeah.
1 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call. It's my nephew. I'm thinking something wrong. He's like, I'm like, I'm waking up. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Granddad record been done. It's just got re-released by Moneybag Yo. It just got released tonight. And I'm like, what? And then I find out and I hear it, and I'm like, this is one of the guys of today.
Right.
That's putting this song out, and it's a hit. So the thing about a lot of my father's songs, they're timeless.
Yes.
And once a hit, always a hit is what he told me. No matter how you do it and flip it, that hit is in that song.
Right.
So I'm telling the guys that I'm around, the artists that I work with, hey, we're going to get in this catalog and we're going to create from it because there's already hit records in there. We just got to recreate it in our own way.
Right.
So your short film, the Birth of a Song, that you're doing for your father, it has received, of course, prestigious awards in the film festivals and different things of that sort. And I just want to tell you that even you sending me the link and me watching the 16-minute clip, I mean, it was amazing. And after I got done watching it, I'm like, I want to watch more. You know what I'm saying? So what was the inspiration behind that reel, and how does it set the stage for like the larger motion picture for you?
Well, that came from stories that I overheard him talking about when he was alive, stories that I overheard my aunt talking about. And back then, that late 60s, when he came over to Stax, people don't realize that my father got to Stax really because of Dr. King getting killed. He was up in New York on what they call the Chitlin Circuit.
Yep.
But there's two Chitlin circuits. There's the Chitlin Circuit when you're on your way up, and then there's the Chitlin Circuit when you're on your way down in the latter part of your career. But he's on his way up, hot, he's doing all the clubs. Everybody is loving my pops. And all of a sudden, Dr. King gets killed. So Stax is at a halt. Everything's come to a halt. The community would not allow Stax to continue to operate because their mindset was this white devil killed our black leader. And when you go to Stax and you go through the doors of Stax and into that building, there's no color. You got whites and blacks creating all this music, this beautiful music, and getting it out there. But after that assassination, they stopped that. So you would have people from the community standing at the door, wouldn't let the artists even go in the door, even hassling them, even beating them up sometimes, taking whatever they had. So the artists refused to come to work. So Al Bell at the time was the president of Stax. He said, man, I need some security. And he said, I know 2 guys up in Harlem, New York. I'm going to call these guys, man. We need some, because we got to keep this music going. And he called these guys, Johnny and Dino, who you saw in the film, represented in the film. That's Johnny Baylor and Dino Woodard.
Wow.
They were up in New York, and they were known as these gangsters, these killers.
Gotta have some goons. Gotta have some goons on your squad.
Goons squad, yeah. And he called them and said, hey man, I need some security, man. We on a roll right now. We gotta keep this music going. And I mean, it's a shame, Dr. King has been assassinated, but we gotta get this music out there. So he said, I need y'all to come down here. He said, well, we got stipulations. When we get down there, we got an artist now. We want our artists to open all the shows for Isaac Hayes. We want our money up front. We want to use all the musicians there. And we'll clean up all the rest of that stuff that's going on. And that artist was my pops. And they brought him down. It was like Christmas of 1968. They came, it was at their first viewing was at the Stax Christmas party. And then next thing you know, Johnny and Dino, they start cleaning house. You start finding people in the dumpsters and in the ditches, all the people that was hassling them. And then it was a problem where they wouldn't play the black music on the radio. And if you did hear a song on the radio by black music, some white artist has stole it. And so my father's first attempt to get his music on the radio, it failed. They wouldn't play it. And then they came with this second song, and it was like, man, this is a hit, but we can't get it on the radio. So in that scene that you saw in that film, which is how he got his first record play, they went down to the radio station, kicked the door in, and put that 45 pistol on the table, put that 45 record on the table, and say, hey, you gonna play this record, or we gonna kill everybody in here.
Right.
And that's basically how it's, and we shot it in a way that it was tasteful, but it was more ruthless than that.
Right.
And that's how he got his first record played. And then people call in.
Let me ask you a question. So Stax record, that was in Detroit, right?
That was in Memphis.
Okay, Memphis. But there was a lot of people on Stax Records too, right? Like Eddie Floyd, he was on there, right?
Speaking of Eddie Floyd, Eddie Floyd, who is still out there today doing his thing. Eddie Floyd and my pops were on the label together, and along with Isaac and Johnny and Mavis and
I think Diana Ross, she was on, I think maybe on one of them before
Diana Ross she was in Detroit. She was on Motown.
Right.
Okay, but before then, I know it was Stax. I think Bumblebee Records too, and like all of them was like in a conglomerate. I kind of know a little something.
There's a lot to that too. I'm gonna bring a lot of that out in this film.
Okay.
But Eddie Floyd, who was and still today is a major contributor to Stax Records, man. I know he there's some stories about him as well, and his son Eddie Floyd Jr. is a really good friend of mine, like a brother to me now, and we tag along and we talk about these things, and I tell him, hey man, put everything you know, write it down.
Right.
Write it down. That's what I was doing. I was writing down everything. And now this story is going to come out in 225. And it's going to be mind-blowing. It's going to be mind-blowing.
I know it's going to be some mention of Berry Gordy in there.
Well, you know, Stax was the rival of Motown. Well, I don't want to say rival, because, you know, as Black people and as Black music, we were all trying to rise at the same time.
Right.
But the sound that they had was a bit more polished and more commercial.
More
and
commercial.
Then you go down south to Memphis and it's a little bit more raw, you know, and a little bit more rugged, but it was still good, you know.
Right.
Like Stevie Wonder say, I mean, not Stevie Wonder, but Ray Charles would say, you know, just doesn't sound good. And then, you know, you put it out.
Right.
The thing about it is there are different stories to be told. I'm just telling my story through my father's eyes.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, and that's the story I want to tell. It's some unbelievable things that happen there that if people see this, it's going to be unbelievable. They're not going to believe that this really happened.
Like I said, it was even mind-blowing just even watching it for those 16 minutes that I was watching it on. And I was just like, dude, like he teasing, like, where's the rest of it? Because I was like interested. I was locked in, wanting to watch more. I was like,
well, see, the three magical words I learned as a short film maker is to be continued.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And I learned that in my upbringing of, you know, film. And the thing about it is people want to see, like you say, you want to see what else happens. So that's why I'm getting these investors involved. And you know, they want to, I have some investors that want to make it happen. So we are all working together right now.
So one of the things that I appreciate, one of the things that I appreciate most, that I love, is not only the telling of the story, but also a lot of the things that were untold that went on in the background that had to be done. Like you just said, you know, like at the time, Motown, Stax was one thing, Motown was another. Motown was more polished and more, should I say, crossover orientated.
Crossover.
You know what I'm saying? Was more crossover orientated. But Stax had to do their thing. And there was some things and some other things that had to happen with Stax to be able to push the artist forward. And those are the stories that I love hearing. And I know that you're going to tell those different things that happen that a lot of us want to hear more of.
You get a good story and you get a good person in that role. Like, I don't know about other filmmakers or other, you know, when they make films or they make music, but I have that thought process in my mind. I get that from my pops.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Right.
And so the star that I really want to be in that position is Bruno Mars. Now, the thing about Bruno, he has a huge following.
Yes.
And he would be perfect in that role. It'd be his first role. It'll blow it up. It'll blow the whole, you know, film thing up.
Right. Right.
And so I'm pursuing Bruno. He doesn't know I'm pursuing him, but I'm pursuing him.
He'll know if he watch this. He'll know when he see me.
Right.
Yeah. And it'll be the exact right time when I go after him. Every other stone will be turned. That'll be the only one unturned. And when I come to him, he's gonna have to say yes. Yeah. First of all, he's already his big album that he had that everybody's crazy about. It was done in Memphis. It was produced by Boo Mitchell at Royal Studios in Memphis.
Wow.
Who is a good friend of mine. Good friend of Eddie Floyd and Eddie Floyd Jr.
See, there we go.
And so these things are in place.
Coming together, yes.
to go right back to him and to get him and bring him on in.
So how did it feel? How did it feel placing 4th out of 2,000 entries in Paris and 8 out of 4,000 entries in Dubai? Like, did that meet your expectations? Like, how did you feel about that? Like placing 4th out of that?
Let me tell you about something when it comes to that. When I first did this film, I didn't even know. I used to go to film festivals, and I used to see people's films up there, and I used to be like, man, I bet that's a really good feeling to see your film on a big screen.
Yeah.
And I was like, one of these days, that's gonna be me. And so when I completed this, I'm still really new to the game. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get this on here, this big screen. Who's gonna watch this? Are they gonna like it? And when I got to my first film festival in New York, I was just expecting somebody. I was up against 55 other films. I wasn't expecting to win. In fact, all the categories had been won by somebody else, and I hadn't won anything. And there was one category left. It was the People's Choice Awards. It was like out of every film this whole entire week, people voted on the #1 film, the best thing that they liked. So I didn't win Best Short. I didn't win Best Film. I didn't win none of that. But then when it came to the People's Choice Award,
yes, sir,
it was the last. And me and my lady was trying to, we was trying to get to the airport. We was like, let's beat the traffic. And the guy who had our bags, I kept trying to get his attention, but he kept ignoring me. I'm like, why is this dude ignoring me?
Right.
Not knowing that he knew who had won this award that they was getting ready to put up there. But I was trying to leave. And they put all these 55 films up here in this
okay. Yeah.
And in these little squares. And I saw mine in a little square, and all these in these little squares. And it went around in like a tornado, and then it stopped. And then it was my film over the whole entire screen.
Wow.
And my old lady, she looked like somebody got shot. It was like, I was like, I had already tore my paper up, because I was going.
It's a wrap. You ready to go? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we ready to go. So I win in New York, and I'm like, wow. And then from then on, I'm like, okay, well, let me submit it here, and let me go to Miami, and somebody saw it in Miami, and even though I wasn't in Miami, even though I wasn't in the film festival, I took it with me. Somebody saw it, got on the phone and called somebody in this other festival, said, man, you got to put this film in this festival.
Wow.
Put it in an International Black Film Festival in Nashville. It won.
Wow.
I went down to Atlanta. It was in the Atlanta Film Festival. And when you go to Atlanta, if you ain't Tyler Perry or you ain't Will Packer,
right?
Everybody think they Tyler or they Will, and everybody down there think they the next one,
right?
And I go down there with my film, and it plays, and I'm like, somebody down here gonna win, and they call my name. They looked at me like, who is this?
Right.
But a lot of them hadn't seen the film. So what they did is after I won, they showed the film, and they was like, oh man, yeah, that's good as hell. I like that.
Wow.
And then they found out that I used to live in Atlanta. So I guess they kind of gave me, okay, well, he cool.
Right. So now you get a little pride. You get a little pass now.
Yeah, I got a pass.
Get a little credit.
But then when you were talking about Dubai and Paris, I just submitted it down there. Just maybe somebody down there see it. I didn't think I would win anything.
Right.
But I came in, I placed, and they told me, it was like, man, we had 2,000 films. You came in 4th. Wow. The other one's like, we had over 4,000 films. You came in like 8th. I'm like, What?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
But that proves to the old saying, and I say this all the time to all my people, you got to be in it to win it. Like you can't like stand on the sideline and say to yourself, well, this may not be good enough, or I don't think I deserve this. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, put your best foot forward and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times
you can't win if you don't play.
You can't win if you don't play. Yeah, if you don't play, you're an absolute loser. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't have your bid in. You dig what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, E, I want to ask you a question, though, because as you was talking, this kind of popped in my head, man, right? And you said how you kind of was new to the game. Do you think a lot of the things that you've done previous before that have prepared you for where you are now to be able to get these awards, to be able to showcase what you do, man? Have some of your past projects kind of prepared you for what you're doing now?
Most definitely. One being, I'm gonna tell you this little quick story. I used to be part of this travel club.
Okay.
This travel club would take me all around the world or the country or wherever I wanted to go. And this travel club was called World Ventures. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but I was in it. And the top guys in the company, all of them was millionaires. And the guy who was the top guy was a billionaire. His name was Wayne Nugent. And one time they were all sitting at this table. And I was like, man, I need to be at that table. You know, everybody else walking around looking at the table, you know, like scared to go over to the table. And me, I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna be scared. I need to be at that table. Because they say, remember how the saying is, if you sit at the table with a bunch of millionaires, you'll be the next one.
Right.
You sit at the table with a bunch of broke people, you'll be broke too.
You'll be broke too.
So what happened is I took a picture of them at that table. I still got this picture to this day. And I took a picture of that. And so the next thing that happened to me was I had this encounter with Steve Harvey. And Steve Harvey spotted me. I went to see him at his show or whatever, at his talk show. He spotted me in the audience. And he ended up calling me down to the stage. And I get on this stage, the audience is going crazy. And he asked me what brings him to the show. And I said, well, he and I had talked like 18 years before that.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, you and I talked about 18 years ago. You told me how my father helped you when you didn't have nothing. I said, I've been trying to get back to you for 18 years. I said, I've been waiting 18 years for this moment. Audience started going crazy. So he asked me, what was I doing? Then I told him I had a project I was embarking on. It was going to be big, and I needed to talk to him about it. And he told me, this is my guy, Ruben. Ruben is the guy who's always announcing, like, Steve Harvey.
Right.
He said, whatever you got, you get it to Ruben, and Ruben will get it to me. And that way, you know, you bypass all these people who's not the manager and the supervisor. All these people ain't going to do nothing. So I kept that in mind. And after I had that meeting, I went back to that table because we would have these in the travel club. We would have these conventions. Okay. We would have them every 3 months at some big arena. And so the next convention where they were sitting at this table, I just went in the room and sat down.
Yes, sir.
That's what you do.
And they looked at me. They looked at me.
Yes, sir.
And I told them about this encounter I had with Steve Harvey. And when I told him about that, one of the guys got up from his chair and told me, hey man, come sit down here.
What's up, baby?
I'm 2 seats from the billionaire.
That's what's up, baby.
And that's and so that mindset kept me going to where I have one of my books that's out right now. I'm on the front cover with two of those millionaires that I was at the table with.
That's what's up.
And the other, it's another millionaire on it, Les Brown, but I'm on the cover with these millionaires. And so I just keep it going. It's about climbing. You know, you just climb.
So now, I absolutely want to speak on that though, because you know I got to, because that's a lesson that you just said to a lot of folks out there that don't understand that.
Right.
Because a lot of places that I go, Sonny and them laugh at me because, like you, I'm posting up at the table, baby. You know what I mean? Like whether you know what I mean, I've been invited or not. You know what I mean? It takes souls like us. It takes mindsets like us to be able to want to crack through that.
Gotta be brave.
And be ready.
Be brave. Gotta be brave.
And gotta be brave. You gotta have a little courage. You know what I'm saying? And because at the end of the day, I look at it, all you can do is tell me no. And that's all that's gonna do is gonna inspire me more. It's gonna just make me want to go harder. You know what I'm saying? So
all you need is one yes. All you need is
I'm
one
gonna let
yes.
you tell your story, but I just had to speak on that lesson, man, about not being afraid to speak your piece, not being able to engage at times when you're and being able to meet the moment. But go ahead, man.
One of the lessons that I learned from Wayne Nugent, that billionaire, he told me, and you just said it. He said, every no is that much closer to a yes.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
He said, I love no. He said, because when you keep hearing no, it's that much closer to a yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I've been, you know, that's one of the things I learned from him.
Yeah.
And so even when I go to these different film festivals, you know, some film festivals, I don't even get selected.
Right.
So to me, that's a no.
Right.
But then here's this next film festival, and here I am, I'm placed in it, and then next thing you know, I'm winning. So it's just, you know, you just got to keep grinding.
No doubt.
So the Nashville Music Conference in 1996, how was that? You met some influential people there, right?
That was my first encounter with P. Diddy.
Okay.
It was Diddy, Notorious B.I.G., Mace, Lil' Kim, all of them were out there.
Okay.
And that's when I knew. I was like, man, I gotta get into this. I gotta be in it. This is what I gotta do, you know?
Right. And, you got bit by the bug. That's when you got bit by the bug.
That's why I got bit. I got bit by the bug. And I was out there with a little rap group that I had at the time called Bulletproof, and they was from St. Louis, and we was passing out CDs, and we was doing all this stuff, not even knowing how it would end up. It was just, to me, it was just the communication, the communicate with these people, the connections. And then, you know, I started meeting rappers, and I got a picture. I'm sitting down as me, Chuck D, and Master P.
What's up?
You know,
man,
this is when Master P was on the climb, you know, and now today he's worth $400 million. My thing is, my father gave me this gift. I didn't even know I was getting this gift.
Right.
That he left for me. And he told me before he died, when I'm gone, you're going to have a lot that you can deal with. And just remember some of the things that I told you. Because he would say, just because I'm gone, just because I'm not here don't mean I'm gone.
Right.
And that resonates in me today. And every day I'm saying something, or I'm thinking something that he told me, and I'm gonna take it in that and go about my day with that, you know.
No.
Even I got a session later tonight. and he'll be with me at that session as I
absolutely
talk with these artists. You know.
Yeah. You spoke on a book that you wrote.
Yeah.
What was the book about? What was the inspiration of writing the book? Like, what was that?
Right.
Tell the book story. You know what I mean?
Two books, right?
Books. Tell the book story, baby. You ain't gonna get away without telling them book stories. Right?
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. The first book, which is this is really wild. It has nothing to do with music, and nothing to do with my pops or anything.
What?
And that's the weird part about this book. It's the Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals was in the World Series with the Boston Red Sox.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to go to 2 games. Went to a game in St. Louis, went to a game in Boston. Cardinals got swept.
Wow. And
I'm at this game in Boston, and this guy comes up and pats me on the back and says, y'all had a good season, this, that, and the other, whatever. But long story short, he ended up inviting me to this cookout. I go to this cookout. His family is at this cookout. Now, this guy is a Cambodian guy.
Mm.
Cardinals was getting smoked. I was like, what the hell? I'm gonna go. I'm in Boston. I might as well see if I can have a good time or whatever. But I went to this cookout, and this family was at this cookout. The family consisted of a mother, a father, and 8 siblings.
Mm.
I go to this cookout, and I'm sitting at this table, and I hear these stories. I'm looking around. I'm seeing all this. Everybody in this yard came from this table, like grandsons, great-grand, whatever. It was all derived from that table.
Okay.
And so they started telling me these stories on how they got here. And it was this thing called the Khmer Rouge when the Vietnamese attacked Cambodia. And the killing fields and all of that. And there was a sister, she had got captured by the Khmer Rouge, taken to the killing fields, blindfolded. And that's where they would have these pits, and all these bodies was in these pits, and they would shoot them in the back of the head or however they wanted to kill them, and they would fall over into this pit. Well, she was blindfolded, and she was there, and it was like 10 people there. And the guy was going one by one, killing them. She was like number 4. She felt this body fall up against her, and so she knew she was next. So she's screaming and crying, and all of a sudden, somebody whispers in her ear, yells in her ear, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" So she's blindfolded. She's bewildered or whatever. He snatches the blindfold off and says, "What are you doing here?" And she was like, I don't know. They thought I was rebelling against the regime, and we were just minding our business." And he went to this guy who was doing the killing, whoever this guy was, and said,
Wow.
"Hey, man, I know this girl. She's good people. Her grandmother is the mother of all the villages who delivers the babies. She helps her grandmother. We need this girl." And so he goes over to her and says, "Get up." And she gets up. And "Who's with you?" "These are my 2 friends who helped me," and told them to get up. And there was one person left in line, and they killed that person right in front of her. Wow. That person that they killed should have been her. And I'm sitting at the table talking to this girl. It was blowing my mind.
Absolutely. That got to be incredible.
And so I'm how did this guy recognize you? She helped her grandmother deliver his baby. Now, what was the chances of that happening back in 79? And I'm sitting at this table talking to this girl. I'm like, you're not even supposed to be here. And she had 3 kids out in the yard. if she not here, they not here.
Mm.
And everybody at the table had a near-death experience where they should have been gone.
Wow.
And so this whole table was not supposed to be here. So therefore, everybody in this yard should not even be here because they all come from this table.
Absolutely.
And they told me these stories, and man, I had to go to the bathroom and wipe my eyes out.
Wow.
Came back, and I was like, well, who knows about this? And they was like, nobody. They just going about their regular daily lives. I said, man, somebody got to know about this.
Yeah.
And the youngest sister went to the house and came back and had these pieces of paper written in their language. Their language is Khmer.
Okay.
Called Khmer, Khmer. And I looked at it, I was like, these are the things that happen to y'all? Yeah, these are some of the things that happened to us. Near-death experiences. I said, if you translate that and date it for me, I'll write you a book. I ain't never written a book in my life.
Wow.
But I was so motivated by what they was telling me and what I was looking at. About 4 months later, they gave me that stuff. About 6 months later, I wrote this book. I called a publisher in New York. I said, man, you got to put this book out. I don't even know nothing about calling publishers, but I called this publisher and said, you got to put this book out. I told them who I was, who my father was, what I was doing, this, that, and the other. And I think it's like every 7 out of 10 books they turned down. It's hard to get in there. And they called me about 4 weeks later after I had submitted and said, we're going to do your book.
Yeah.
And they did the book
on
that family. And that was my first book.
Wow. Where can we go purchase or look at read that out? Because I would like to go read that. Seriously.
The book is called The Watered Rose. The Unwatered Rose.
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa.
It's on BarnesandNobles.com. It's on Amazon.com. It's on all platforms. In fact, if you just Google The Unwatered Rose, it'll come up and you can read the first 23 pages on there.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm definitely check it out.
Listen, that was amazing.
Yeah, and the thing about it is Angelina Jolie had put out a movie similar to that called First They Killed My Father, about this Cambodian girl who was in Cambodia. And I went to see that, not knowing anything about what I was doing at the time. And see, when I wrote that book, I didn't just take those papers and write it. Man, I got on a plane and flew to Cambodia.
Wow.
With the father of that who was at that table,
right?
And one of the daughters, and went back and did my due diligence. I was there for 14 days. I went to the killing fields. I went to the different camps. I went all around Cambodia. It was an amazing experience.
It sounds amazing. And then being able to go to Cambodia to actually put some context to it. You know what I mean? Because they could tell you the story all day, but to actually do your research, to be able to go there, to be able to walk on those grounds, you know what I mean? To be able to feel what they were feeling, to match that to how to tell the story, because you're there. You understand it a whole lot better now. You know what I mean? You can put some total context to this now. That was wild. And to be able to just sit there and be to hear the story and be like, all right, I'm doing a book. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether nobody read it or whatever, but this story needs to be told, and for you to be able to be there to recognize that story needed to be told was a beautiful thing, was actually a godsend, in my eyes.
Well, the thing about it is I go there and I get off this plane, and from the moment I got off that plane, man, they was treating me like royalty. I mean, people were bowing. They were bowing to me. I stayed in this. It was like a castle,
right?
And they had servants. It was wild. And then I would get into this car that they had rented for me,
Yes, sir.
And they would take me to the fields, and I go out to these fields, and it was like third world.
Wow.
It was just mind blowing.
I imagine it. I imagine it had to be mind blowing, and it had to be like inspirational to no end. You know what I mean? To do what you was doing, man. That was beautiful.
And you know who else was huge? A huge icon over there? Sidney Poitier.
Oh,
wow!
They've got pictures of Sidney Poitier over there. Just huge pictures. How he was like a ambassador for them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like telling the people, I was like, man, my pops knew Sidney Poitier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was telling them that, and so they were resonating with me even more.
Right.
When I was telling them that, and so, you know what I did? I went and got one of my writers, WGA writers. I gave him my book, and she wrote a script to my book. So that's going to be a film project.
That's what's up. Because I'm sitting here already envisioning it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm already kind of seeing it in my head of how that can be like a super all-star book, man, because that's a story, first of all, that's unbelievable. You know what I mean? And then secondly, for the story to be told, you know what I mean? Because that's something that we don't see every day. Like, we don't imagine.
It's something funny.
And just even hearing that story, that's just even hearing that story alone, like, it's just, man, mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. And see, when I do something, I go all out. And I can remember my brother called me, and I told him where I was. He said, man, what the hell are you doing over there? You know, he was that far gone from where I am. Right. What the hell, man? You ain't gonna be able to get back from over there, you know. But
right. What you doing in Cambodia, nigga? What's going on?
In East St. Louis doing in Cambodia. So that's just how I am. And that's just another one of my projects.
Okay.
That's my first book. My second book, was with a bunch of other authors. We all got to put our stories, and the stories are, what was that defining moment in your life that just made you say, I got to do something else, or I must do this, or I must do that. What was the defining moment in your life where you made a change? And in the book, it's called The Breakthrough. In the book, I had a near-death experience. I got hit by a drunk driver. And I almost got killed by this drunk driver. At that moment, when I'm in the hospital, I don't want to say fighting for my life. I don't remember, but I came out of it. But the thing about it is, that could have been it.
That could have been it. And
I told myself, man, I got to stop playing, man. I got to. My father gone, my mother gone. If I'm gone, nobody's gonna know nothing.
The legacy,
because like I said, my brother is not. He's not on that.
He can't tell the stories the way you was. He can't.
Right.
He can't extend the legacy.
My father raised my brother.
Right.
But he's a stepfather. But he still raised him from age 7 or 8. You know.
Right.
But he's not on that. And if I don't tell the story and get it out, or everything, all the stories that I want to tell, they won't ever come out. So I said, I got to get on the ball. I got to go. I got to rock and roll. Yeah, and that's why that was the defining moment right there. God could have said, I need you up here now. But he didn't. He said, I need you down there still.
I need you to still tell these stories. So, yeah.
I watch the steps that I take, and I'm careful, what I do, and go and try to get this stuff done.
Absolutely. Hey, that's beautiful, man. And you were fighting for your life, whether you knew it or not. You know what I mean? I know you didn't want to use that word, you know what I mean? Because I too have been through some really sticky situations, whatever. And I do know that I've been in situations that where I actually, your internal soul says that it's not ready to go and you are fighting to be able to continue your legacy, and not only for you, for your family, and also for your kids. You know what I'm saying? And so, or for the ones that come behind you. Let me just say that, because it's just not kids. There's nieces and nephews, and there's other folks that actually watch us every day. And we must continue on doing the things that we do to be able to tell the stories that we tell. You know what I'm saying?
So what's ahead? What's ahead for you? What's next?
Right.
What you got going on? New projects, upcoming things. What's next?
Well, like I said, 2025 is when I'm looking to complete the finish of well, it's not going to be called Birth of a Song. Like I said, Birth of a Song is just an excerpt from, it's going to be called The Brand. If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right. A stack story based, in this Luther Ingram story. That my Cambodian film I want to get done.
Yeah.
I have another film story that I want to work on. I have a really good friend, and you may remember this really good friend that I have, because we all watch Soul Train.
Absolutely.
And so from 1979 to 1991, there was a young lady on there who goes by the Asian girl with the long hair. Her name was Cheryl Song.
Okay.
And I want to do her story. Her story is incredible. Basically, the things that happened to her when she first got on Soul Train. She was harassed because Soul Train this was a black show. It was a black dancers, black show, and they felt infiltrated. Who was this Asian girl on our show? And they used to do horrific things to her to try to get her to quit.
Right.
And so she has her own compelling story of how she kept pushing, and then one day, Marvin Gaye picked her out of the crowd,
wow,
to sing this duet to. Next thing you know, Rick James picked her to be in a Super Freak video. Next thing, Michael Jackson picked her to be in a Beat It video and to help choreograph the dancers.
Wow.
Next thing, Don Cornelius put her on a riser. See, when you're on a riser, that means you one of the head dancers at the show.
Whoa.
Pretty soon they was like, if you can't beat her, let's join her. And but she fought to get all of that.
Right.
And the things they used to do, she was in a hospital. They put her in a hospital. They did things to her to put her in a hospital. So I'm gonna do her story. Wow. She's a good friend of mine. She's out in LA.
Okay.
And that's one of my stories. I got a couple other stories. I got some really good content.
Yeah.
It's going to come out. And one of the other pieces of content that I got is a brand new, it's going to be a brand new TV show. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I don't want to disclose a lot of it, but it's along the lines of the American Idol.
Okay.
The Voice. But it's strictly for bands. You got to be in a band.
Okay.
And so when I created this concept and I put it on film, I shot a little trailer. Lawrence Fishburne seen it. So Lawrence Fishburne, who was one of our icons.
Absolutely.
He saw it and was like, "Oh wow, this is a no-brainer." He says, "But you need a little bit more done to it." He says, "I'll tell you what, I'm gonna get my production company to come in with you and help and get it edited to where you can get it ready to pitch it to the industries."
Right.
He says, "Once my team helps you with that and gets it to where it needs to be, I'm going to narrate your pitch for you."
That's beautiful.
And that's where I'm at right now. I have Lawrence Fishburne narrating.
Yes, sir.
My pitch that I'm
Mr. ERIC Luther. Yes, sir, Mr. ERIC Ingram.
And then also, Sam didn't say this, but I'm going to say it because I'm always repping Media Made anyway. If there's a chance too that you ever want any of your stuff played, Media Made has that platform, Media Made TV. You know, Media Made. We have Media Made magazine. It's an all-in-one, you know, production company, independent. So Sam is the CEO, so he makes that happen.
So we absolutely can make that happen. Because as you was talking, already in my head was like, I need that trailer. I need that trailer for the picture. yo, E, you know how, you know, because I'm an old school cat too, you know what I mean? And
yes, sir.
You know, and I come up and you know what I mean? I come up in the industry and I know how it all works too. And
yes,
as you was talking in my head, I was like, I need that trailer. And then it was 16 minutes. I don't care how long it is. I need the trailer. So we can take that trailer. We can put that trailer on Media Made TV. Not only put the trailer on Media Made TV, we just kind of launched a new thing on our website for films. So I want to take that trailer, and if not, man, break that trailer, break our film tab on the website with your trailer to your movie. That's
so
what I'm
Sonny, he hasn't seen it.
I ain't seen it yet.
He hasn't seen it. I sent him the link. He ain't. I told him to watch it. What? I'm telling you.
So
it's amazing.
Send it. My earphones just went out, but send it, and we gonna take it from there. You know what I mean?
Gotta see it, man. You gotta see it.
Yep. Super quick. I got what advice would you give to any aspiring filmmaker, author, or musician, whoever wants to come up in the industry? What advice would you give them?
Believe in yourself and believe in your content.
Okay.
Believe in your content. If your content is good and you think it's good enough, believe in it and keep producing it. Keep making it happen.
Absolutely.
Build your content, because the one thing they're gonna ask you is they're gonna like what you have and they're gonna say, okay, well, what else you got?
Right.
Because that's what's happening to me now.
Right.
You know, but I've got somebody who likes what I have and they want to know what else I got. So continue to build your content and just keep pushing. Don't let nobody tell you all, because somebody will tell you, oh man, that ain't gonna work. And they'll tell you that because they don't have nothing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They don't want you to leave them down there at the bottom.
Yep.
They want you to stay down there with them. So they'll tell you, oh man, that ain't gonna work. That ain't nothing.
Right. We get that a lot.
I hear it all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, okay, so are you watching what we doing? Because I don't care if you is or you ain't, because I'm gonna keep doing what I do anyway. You know what I'm saying? Right. So listen, man, it was man, it was beautiful that you came out. But before you go, I need you to shout out and plug everything and everybody that's helped you get to the place to where you are today.
Well, man, I've got a gentleman by the name of I call him Uncle Ron.
Okay.
Ron Knight. He's in Atlanta. He's been rolling with me ever since 1999. Then of course I got my writing team. Shout out to them. Brian. Shout out to my girl Leah. That's my girl, right? When I was making my film, I was actually buying my house that same weekend. And so, you know, if you ever bought a house, anything can happen when you get to closing.
Yes, sir.
So I got my money sitting here for my film, and I got my money sitting here for my house. There's nothing else left. And so we start shooting. Okay. We start shooting on a Thursday evening, and everything's going good. Come Saturday, I have to leave the set and go to the closing. I get to the closing, they say, you're gonna need $7,000 more. $7,000 more. So I don't have $7,000 more. And then I'm like, I'm gonna have to pull it from the film, but I can't pull it from the film because we in the middle of shooting. And Leah stepped up. Leah stepped up and went to the bank and threw $7,000 on the bed.
Wow. Amazing.
So she
all right. So look. All right. So we time. So go,
I'm here. I'm here. You know, I figure it out. You know,
I is back. He like, wait a minute.
I figure it out. Goddamn. You know what I mean? Just what I do.
Go ahead and plug all of your social media platforms too, as well. Let people know where they can follow you at, the audience and everything.
You can find me on Facebook under Eli Eric Luther. You can find me on Instagram under Eli_Eric_Luther.
Okay.
Email me at Luther Ingram Music or email me at luthermovie@gmail.com.
That's what's up.
I'm around. I'm everywhere.
I know that's right. Hey, let me just say this before you go, because I'm still here. May you be blessed in all the different things that you do in life, and may you prosper in each and everything that you do, each and every day that you do it, my brother. You heard?
Appreciate you, man.
No doubt. Hey, yo, man, it was beautiful, man. Listen, Sonny gonna tap in with you, but that trailer is going up and a whole lot of other stuff. Cause I don't know, Sonny, you needed to put that in my ear for sure. Like,
yes, absolutely, I got you. And I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna actually make sure too to give Fan your number too, so y'all can connect, because y'all definitely got some stuff that y'all can,
make sure he sees that trailer. That
absolutely gonna look at that trailer. I'm absolutely probably tomorrow I'm gonna watch it and I'm like hit my guy like, hey, put this up right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of thing that I be on, like right now. Because if I don't do it now, it get pushed down. And listen, I don't need it pushed down. I need it to happen right now. You know what I'm saying? So
today, see it today.
He sound like me. Right. Say he sound like me, huh? Today.
Today.
Right. It got to go today.
Hey, E, man, I appreciate you, man. And once again, like I said, man, I just want to, send my blessings to you, man. You know what I'm saying? And just bless you in the longevity that you had up to this time, my brother. And listen, we're going to tap in at a later date, man. And until then, man, may you and the family stay safe. And God bless everything that you're doing, my brother. You heard?
God bless. Let's do it again, though.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're definitely going to do it again, man. We're definitely going to do this again because you got a lot of projects coming out, man. So we want to stay tapped in for all of the different things that you're getting done, man.
And then, San got Media Made magazine coming too. So
yeah. Oh, so you definitely gonna be in the next issue of Media Made magazine. So that's a given. So don't even worry about it. We're gonna tap in and we're gonna get all the information that we need, and we're gonna keep this thing moving forward, baby. All right.
I can dig it.
No doubt, Cat. Hey, be easy, man. Peace.
All right.